Okay, this is a video about Caucasian honeybees. A lot of people have been recently stirred up to new interest in Caucasian honeybees. And part of the reasoning for this is they're trying to find new approaches to combat varroa and other um, problems that the other um, honeybees currently being used by beekeepers are having. Right now, having your winter collapse, winter deaths, is still a massive issue for most beekeepers. And the combination of varroa and chemical saturation is believed to be a big part of this. And there have been a couple of beekeepers that have recently posted that they're trying to bring back and get Caucasian honeybee genes. And this is kind of interesting to see what will happen from this. Because who knows? Maybe it will work. There's hope that it would help with it, but it's not a guaranteed thing. Um, Now, part of their reasoning may be that Caucasian honeybees were found in Asia, therefore, they might have more resistance to varroa. Now, that could be true, but it also might not work, and the reason is varroa. It's believed that varroa wasn't always in Asia, that they think it may have emerged around the 1940s or 50s. And it's also possible that the Caucasian honeybee stock that may have been brought to the U.S. may have been brought after, or sorry, before that resistance trait emerged. So it's going to remain. I'm not saying that's for sure, but it's the question. It's kind of like a decision tree. Did was the genetic stock brought over before or after the resistance trait emerged in Asia? The resistance to varroa trait emerged in Asia first. We haven't gotten the resistance to varroa trait yet in the other Western honeybee stock, which is primarily the Italian and Carniolan and Carnaca and Romanian honeybee stock. Although we don't really get Romanian bees in the West, uh, you won't find those in the U.S. But it is a type of really good bee, and they're interested. They're very pretty. Also, you can look them up. There's another name for them. I call them Romanian bees though, because that's how I first heard about it. But anyway, so back to Caucasian honeybees. They're believed to have come from the area around the Caucasus of Asia, which is basically Georgia, Turkey, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. They're also believed to be a mountain bee. The traits are that they have a really long, extra long tongue, and that's part of what's interesting about them. That means that they can get to some flower nectars that the other bees can't. Like one of the examples, I think it's the red clover plant. The other honeybees can't pull the nectar out of red clover because their tongues aren't long enough. Now, that is not to be confused with like Dutch white clover. There's many types of clover, and many of the other types of clover are famous for honey production, like Dutch white clover, but it's not the only strain of clover. So, anyway, so back to the traits for Caucasian honeybees: longer tongue. They're believed to have good brood production, and they're gentle, usually gentle. One of the problems with them is that traditionally the colony sizes and nests for Caucasian are bees are much, much smaller than Italian and Carniolan colony sizes. And that's one of the issues. And people who are talking about bringing these back, they're not really talking about that problem. And probably that's believed because it's believed that they're going to mix them already anyway with their other stock. But when people write about Caucasian honeybees, they're basically writing that you have to watch to make sure the colony reaches full strength around midsummer, or might not be able to overwinter very good. Now, it's also possible that some of these beekeepers are thinking, well, we're going to send our colony south for the winter anyway. That's probably what they're thinking. A lot of people bring their colonies south now, although not everyone does, and not everyone has the ability to do that. It's also, you can have a lot of problems if you spill a truck full of bees, too, which has happened. That happened in my area just maybe 2 years ago, where a truck farm going to, I think they were either going to or from California, and the truck overturned on the highway. It was a huge mess. Anyway, that's a side note. So, excuse me. Caucasians can be a really good bee. Their most notable trait is that they make extra propolis. They make a ton of propolis, and this is part of why they hadn't been used so much. Is they used to be around and they used to be used, but people got tired of the excessive propolis. Now, some people are thinking they could use that because the extra propolis will help contain um, parasites and other problems, and that's kind of a pretty good point. That could be used, and it could be interesting to see how that will go. Um, and I expect that we'll probably hear more about Caucasian bees in the next couple of years because of this idea um, that they may have some other abilities to fight things that other bees don't. Now, I mentioned already that the colony size might not get up to the same size that the Italian and Carniolan colonies do. One of the sources that I was looking at had written that the average worker size for a Caucasian colony was 30 to 40,000 workers, and that they quoted Italian and Carniolan colonies at double that. So that could be an issue, but probably people are going to mix the genes, and that's how they'll combat things. For example, it used to be some people used to think that Carniolans wouldn't get as big as Italian colonies, but that has not been my observation, and it's probably changed because Carniolans can get very big in colony size, and they do very well. They're very popular also. People like the idea how they're more efficient with resources. But anyway, that's all I've got to say about Caucasian honeybees at this point. If you have some questions about them, you can post them, and I can help you with questions you want to research. And feel free to ask me or request other topics that you want to learn about also.